Hello, everyone! Welcome back to another Cineful stream. Where? Where? Right here, of course. Welcome back to your favorite Bakunawa streamer, where we are sometimes late, but always great. Thank you. Also, hi, Quotal Smasher. Hello. How are you? Thank you for redeeming your daily bubble. I just had some sushi. I get to catch your stream. Stardust! Hello! Hi, Star! Hiya! Guys, this is my new unicorn that I have acquired recently. Can confirm she does taste like Stardust. Very sweet, very sugary. What kind of sushi? I had so it was me and my mom. So we ordered crab and cream cheese, smoked salmon with avocado, cooked smoked salmon with avocado. And I was like, Mom, if I wanted cooked fish, I would not order sushi. Why would you want cooked fish with your sushi order? And then, you know, of course, the California roll, because we needed that refresher piece. My mom gets a lot of sushi that has like the cream cheese, you know, the crab and cream cheese, the Philadelphia roll, anything that comes with cream cheese. My mom will get it. I'm more of a just throw some tuna on that rice for me kind of sushi gal. You know what I mean? Give me that Toro hand roll, please and thank you. Laurel, hello, welcome back. Kumo Miss, thank you for the lurk. You make it sound like I'm a collectible, but you are a collectible. You're like my shiny Pokemon. You love nigiri? Yes. I love a good fatty tuna. Yes. In fact, so what I used to do is I would just go to one of the nicer grocery stores where they have like a fishmonger, and I would go to the fish section and get like a tuna steak. So Jax, thank you for redeeming your daily bubble, and thank you for the head pads. Hi, how are you? You like salmon rolls? Oh yeah. So I would get like a tuna steak at the fishmonger, and then just just sear it. Just sear it on both sides so that it's still nice and tuna-y in the middle. You know, because the taste of the texture of tuna definitely changes after you cook it. I'm mad, went to bed early, woke up drenched in sweat, can't sleep now. I'm thinking of showering to feel less disgusting. Oh, are you like in one of the heat wave places? I'm so sorry for your skin. I'm sorry for your skin. But I have a phone again. I have phone service again, which means I have a new number. Yay! That means I don't have to block people on my phone. I can just choose not to give them my number and delete them from mine. But also in doing so, in going to the store, I have learned that they are hiring, so I might just apply for a job to sell phone service. Do you guys think I can do it? Do you guys think I'd be like a good phone salesperson? Do you guys think I would be good at selling cell phones and internet service? Huh? Do I have what it takes? I've never done sales before. I'd buy a phone from you. I bought your friendship after all. You didn't buy my friendship. You got that shit for free, Star. Let me see. I'm gonna snooze the ad. You'd give me a phone for free? No, that's not what I said. I said you got my friendship for free. The heat wave is unforgiving. Thankfully, I have an AC unit now, but I don't want to overuse it and get sick. Yeah, you gotta like ease yourself into air conditioning. I have a fan, so when it gets hot in here, I just have the fan blowing to circulate the air and give me like a nice little breeze. Friendship and a phone. I did not get a new phone though. I just using what I had, my S23. And maybe next year I'll upgrade to whatever the new phone is at the time. You think maybe they'll be up to like what, the S26 next year? Do you guys like phone charms? I was thinking of getting one. But where would I put it though? Where would I put my phone charm? I guess like maybe... I need a case that allows me to put a phone charm on my phone, actually. I will wait until my phone literally cannot function at all before getting a new one. That's so relatable. I used to do that too. I did not get a new phone until like 2 years ago when I got the S23, and I bought it outright off of Amazon. Go Skaboom. Hello, thank you so much for the follow. Hi, welcome to the deep end. How are you? You have a lot of purse charms. I have a cinema roll purse charm. I have it attached to my keychain, but that is also attached to my purse, so it counts. It counts. My keychain is definitely a purse charm as well. But I have a cinema roll one. I got it from Miniso the other year when my niece graduated from high school. We went down to Texas to go to her graduation. Enjoying time off? Love it. I have indefinite time off because I'm jobless until I find a new one. Might not stay following smaller creators. Okay, that's cool. Pop off, queen. Supporting the little ones. Supporting the little littles. We all be little littles up in here. If you want to follow another smaller creator, might I introduce you to Stardust Shimmer, wink wink, who is right there, wink wink, below you, wink wink. She's a delicious candy sugar coated unicorn VTuber, wink wink. I have a little stuffed penguin, Aubrey, from Omori, Mumi, and March 7th charm. Oh, you have a March 7th charm? That's cute. Oh, I should get more charms. That's gonna be probably next year. I'm gonna just like go into getting more cute stuff. I'm kind of weird. My spectrum is weird. Like I love super cutesy like Sanrio shit. I mean, look at me. I'm all pasteled out. Look at my pink. Look at my blue. Look at my purples. Look at all that going on right there. Obviously, I love cutesy shit, but also I love some dark macabre shit as well. Like, you should see my desk right now. I have fucking skulls. I have skulls on my desk. I have skeletons on my desk. I have Jack and Sally on my desk. I have a Jack and Sally plushies. I love Nightmare Before Christmas, honestly. I have a skull. I like spooky shit. I want to fuck a ghost. Or a demon. I want to fuck a demon. Um, oh, my purse just jangles with charms. Mine jangles with my charm and my keychain, my keys, and I'm kind of embarrassed of the jingle jangle, so I like put it in the purse pocket. But then I'm also like, but they're not gonna see my cute shit, so then I take it out of the purse pocket. I'm like, jingle on, just jingle jangle on. Let's see. Got a bit of goth in you. Would love pastel goth. Love it. Hee hee. Ah, yes, I love. Tall, dark, and tragic. Yes. Vampires. Not the pale ones, though. I don't want a pale vampire. Too dead looking. You know what I mean? Can't find anyone who seems interesting. I'm back. Well, welcome back. Stare Daisuke. Long time no see. How are you? I'm very unashamed about the fact I have a small bell tied to my purse. I like hearing it chime when I walk around. That's like super cute. Replace tall with long and you have my D&D background. Long, dark, and tragic. Anyone from Vampire Diaries? Yo, I never got into those. Like, I never got into Vampire Diaries or the originals. When I was in high school, that was what everyone was fucking into. I never got into those shows. Actually, I think that's around the time when I stopped really enjoying watching television. I'm more of a movie person. The CW shows were the shit. Yeah, I'm more of a TV person. I'm more of a movie person, unless I can So, I'll make exceptions for shows like Wednesday. They have fewer episodes, right? They're not like a long running seasons, right? So I can wait for like a few episodes at a time to come out and then binge them, or just wait for the whole thing and binge them. That's how I watched The Mandalorian, is I just binged the whole like seasons of The Mandalorian, because that's my watch style. I have to if I don't watch everything at once like it's a movie, I can't do I won't go back to. I won't be able to finish it, and that's why I haven't been able to finish any K-dramas that I started watching before. I need to one-shot it. Does anybody spend their life savings on random items, or is that just me? No, I spent my life savings on surviving with someone who didn't deserve me using my life savings to survive with them. Some people give me weird looks, but I'm getting to the point where I don't care about others' opinions. See, that's how it should be. Don't just be you. Just do you. Just do you. Just do you. The last movie I saw, Wicked 2. Oh yeah, we were talking about it. I can't wait for it to come out. I can't wait for it to come out. I want to go see it at the Cinema Cafe again, and maybe they'll have another commemorative, maybe they'll have another limited time glass that I can take. Maybe they'll have another limited edition, limited time glass. Because that's what I did last night. Anytime I go see a movie at Cinema Cafe and they have the special glasses, the themed glasses for the movies, I'll order alcohol just so I can have that and bring it home with me. I need them. I'm a glass collector. I like collecting cute glasses. So much better. You're beautiful and bladder. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. I want to do a back-to-back with the first and second one. Double feature. Ooh. Ooh. See, that's what I do when I'm... So all 3 of the original Jurassic Park movies are on Netflix right now. So that's definitely something that, like, I'll watch the first one and then I'll take like a break, and then I'll watch the second one and I'll take like a break, and then I'll watch the third one. Now I will say the third one is my least favorite. The first one, of course, never gonna be beat. The second one, still good. Third one, yeah, I like it, but yeah. First and second one's definitely better. It's like every time you go on to another sequel, it's like, I don't know if they needed this. Now, I've seen every single one of the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies, including the one that just came out in theater. And the one that just came out in theater, I'm like, I don't think we needed this. I think it's good to end here. We definitely don't need any more. Where can you even go from here? The dinosaurs are dying. Like, that is your end point. The dinosaurs are dying. Wait, spend hundreds, huh? Hundreds I don't have on Funko Pops and leech off others for food. Oh my god. Okay, if you were a dinosaur, which one would you be? What dinosaur would I be? That's a good question. What would you say is a good... What? I'm trying to think of a dinosaur that's cute, but deadly. Or maybe not even deadly, but cute, but like... Cute and... ferocious. Like, it's cute, but it could hurt you. You know? The little ones. The compies, you mean? The compsognathids. Also, real girls kill me. Hi. Hi, hello. Hiya, raptor. Oh, raptors are pretty nice looking. And deadly. Do you think I give raptor energy? Am I a raptor? Do I give raptor energy? No. What kind of dinosaur do you think I would be? Huh? Your favorite is the Spinosaur. Spinosaur's pretty cool. Yeah. I always loved the big dinosaur fights. I was kind of disappointed that there weren't really any in the last one. Because the big dinosaur fights are my favorite. Actually, any of the dinosaurs fighting each other are really nice. A woman dinosaur. All dinosaurs in Jurassic Park are female. Or so they say. Only the Spino from the third one. Third one's getting lame. Ah. Yeah, they are getting. What if they made... I want to watch, like, Jurassic Park in its full, like, horror. Like, even if it's just, like, an animated one. Squirtle, thank you so much for the follow. I love collecting Pokemon. Gotta catch them all. Allegedly all female. They forgot to stop the tree frog DNA that changes sex as needed. Yes, they were not accounting for that. Amphibians, man. They're crazy. They're crazy. Amphibians go crazy. Imagine if they did, like, asexual reproduction, though, instead of changing their sex because they were in a single-sex environment, which Clownfish also do that, did you know? Did you know that clownfish can also change from male to female? Did you know that? Hmm. Getting ready for my Instagram babe. She wonderful. Thank you, Stardust. Thank you for dropping in and hanging out for a little while. I hope you have a good stream. Okay, are you guys ready to start reading more of Jurassic Park? I can't believe we're so close to being finished. We're so close. They should have played it safe with just herbivore. That way, if breakout, it wouldn't be hunted at least. That's true. But also the compsognathids probably would have been okay as well. I think the issue really started when they were breeding like the big deadlies, you know? It was the big deadlies that screwed them over. And also, what's his name? Nedry. If Nedry wasn't there, it probably would have been fine. If they didn't screw Nedry over, it would have been fine. They were breaking up before him. Yeah, that's true. But he really fucked them up though. Like he really, like extra fucked them over. Like, before it was just like, you know, here and there. It became a massacre after the storm. Maybe when we finish reading, like the whole book, we can watch some Jurassic Park, Jurassic horror stories on YouTube. Alright, let's get into it. Tim suddenly found himself lost in a tangled series of monitored control screens as he tried to get back to the main screen. Most systems had a single button or a single command to return to the previous screen or to the main menu. But this system did not, or at least he didn't know it. Oh, I forgot about... it's not that one. There we go, my book. Also, he was certain that help commands had been built into the system, but he couldn't find them either. And Lex was jumping up and down and shouting in his ear, making him nervous. Yeah, there we go. Finally. My glasses! I can't read without my glasses. Why would you take my glasses? Oh, naughty. So naughty. Where are they? I can't find them. There we go. Finally, he got the main screen back. He wasn't sure what he had done, but it was back. He paused, looking for a command. Do something, Timmy. Will you shut up? I'm trying to get help. He pushed template main, the screen filled with a complicated diagram with interconnected boxes and arrows. No good. No good. He pushed common interface. The screen shifted. What's that? Lex said. Why aren't you turning on the power, Timmy? He ignored her. Maybe help on this system was called info. He pushed info. Timmy, Lex wailed.
Banana.
But he had already pushed it find. He got another useless window. He pushed go back. Black Rose Knight, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. On the radio, he heard Muldoon say, "How's it coming, Tim?" He didn't bother to answer. Frantic, he pushed buttons, one after another. Suddenly, without warning, the main screen was back. He studied the screen. Electrical main and set grids. Both looked like they might have something to do with grids. He noticed that safety, health, and critical locks might be important too. He heard the growl of the raptors. He had to make a choice. He pressed set grids DNL and groaned when he saw it. Thank you for redeeming your daily bubble. How are you doing, Mom? Mom! Thank you for the head pats. I'm doing okay. How are you? Oh, sparkly eyes. I love reading Jurassic Park with you guys. He didn't know what to do. He pushed standard parameters. Tim shook his head in frustration. It took him a moment to realize that he had just gotten valuable information. He now knew the grid coordinates for the lodge. He pushed grid F4. Power grid F4. Safari Lodge. Command cannot be executed. Error 505. Power incompatible with command error. It's not working, Lex said. I know. He pushed another button. The screen flashed again. Power grid D4. Safari Lodge. Command cannot be executed. Error 505. Power incompatible with command error. Tim tried to stay calm, to think it through. For some reason, he was getting a consistent error message whenever he tried to turn on a grid. It was saying the power was incompatible with the command he was giving. But what did that mean? Why was power incompatible? Miyuki, hello! Thank you so much for the head pats. How are you doing? Timmy, Lex said, tugging at his arm. Not now, Lex. Yes, now, she said, and she pulled him away from the screen and the console. And then he heard the snarling of raptors. Stressed to be on edge. Oh. I hope everything gets better. Welcome back, Ghost Kaboom. I'm gonna call you Boom. Or maybe I'll call you Kaboom. I'm gonna call you Boomy. It was coming from the hallway. Stole my user anyway? What? In the skylight above Malcolm's bed, the raptors had almost bitten through the second metal bar. They could now poke their heads entirely through the shattered glass. The lunge and snarl at the people below. Then, after a moment, they would pull back and resume chewing on the metal. Malcolm said, "It won't be long now. 3, 4 minutes." He pressed the button on the radio. "Tim, are you there, Tim?" There was no answer. Boomer, may I suggest? That's also a good one. Explosion. Yeah, he goes kaboom. Hello, Eggbins. Welcome in. Let's see. Long story short, took my user from a friend. Now we go into online games and pretend to not know each other, to confuse each other, that we coincidentally have the same user. There's a lot more detail I could add, but it's a waste of time for everyone. That's pretty funny. Tim slipped out the door and saw the velociraptor down at the far end of the corridor, standing by the balcony. He stared in astonishment. How had it gotten out of the freezer? Then, as he watched, a second raptor suddenly appeared on the balcony, and he understood. The raptor hadn't come from the freezer at all. It had come from outside. It had jumped from the ground below. The second raptor landed silently, perfectly balanced on the railing. Tim couldn't believe it. The big animal had jumped 10 feet straight up. More than 10 feet. Their legs must be incredibly powerful. Lex whispered, "I thought you said they couldn't." Shh. Tim was trying to think, but he watched with a kind of fascinated dread as the third raptor leapt to the balcony. The animals milled aimlessly in the corridor for a moment, and then they began to move forward in single file, coming toward him and Lex. What do you call a fast-speaking velociraptor? I don't know. What do you call a fast-speaking velociraptor? Velociraptor? Quietly, Tim pushed against the door at his back to re-enter the control room, but the door was stuck. He pushed harder. "We're locked out," he whispered. "Look." She pointed to the slot for the security card alongside the door. A bright red dot glowed. Somehow, the security doors had been activated. "You idiot! You locked us out!" Tim looked down the corridor. He saw several more doors, but each had a red light glowing alongside. That meant all the doors were locked. There was nowhere they could go. Then he saw a slumped shape on the floor at the far end of the corridor. It was a dead guard. A white security card was clipped to his belt. "Come on," he whispered. They ran for the guard. Tim got the card and turned back, but of course the raptors had seen them. They snarled and blocked the way back to the control room. They began to spread apart, fanning out in the hallway to surround Tim and Lex. Their heads began to duck rhythmically. They were going to attack. Tim did the only thing he could do. Using the card, he opened the nearest door of the hallway and pushed Lex through. As the door began to close behind them, the raptors hissed and charged. Laurel, welcome back. Ian Malcolm drew each breath of it as if it might be his last. He watched the raptors with dull eyes. Harding took his blood pressure, frowned, took it again. Ellie Sattler was wrapped in a blanket, shivering and cold. Muldoon sat on the floor, propped against the wall. Hammond was staring upward, not speaking. They all listened to the radio. "What happened to Tim?" Hammond said. "Still no word." "I don't know," Malcolm said. "Ugly, aren't they? Truly ugly." Hammond shook his head. Who could have imagined it would turn out this way? Ellie said, "Apparently Malcolm did." "I didn't imagine it," Malcolm said. "I calculated it." Hammond sighed. "No more of this, please." "He's been saying 'I told you so' for hours, but nobody ever wanted this to happen." "It isn't a matter of wanting it or not," Malcolm said. His eyes closed. He spoke slowly through the drugs. "It's a matter of what you think you can accomplish. When the hunter goes out in the rainforest to seek food for his family, does he expect to control nature? No. He imagines that nature is beyond him, beyond his understanding, beyond his control. Maybe he prays to nature, to the fertility of the forest that provides for him. He prays because he knows he doesn't control it. He's at the mercy of it. But you decide you won't be at the mercy of nature. You decide you'll control nature, and from that moment on you're in deep trouble. Because you can't do it. Yet you have made systems that require you to do it. And you can't do it. And you never have. And you never will. Don't confuse things. You can make a boat, but you can't make the ocean. You can make an airplane, but you can't make the air. Your powers are much less than your dreams of reason would have you believe." "He's lost me," Hammond said, with a sigh. "Where did Tim go? He seemed such a responsible boy." "I'm sure he's trying to get the control of the situation," Malcolm said, "like everybody else. And Grant too. What happened to Grant?" Grant reached for the rear door to the visitor center. The same door he had left 20 minutes ago. He tugged on the handle. It was locked. Then he saw the little red light. The security doors were reactivated. Damn! He ran around to the front of the building and went through the shattered front doors into the main lobby, stopping by the guard desk where he had been earlier. He could hear the dry hiss of his radio. He went to the kitchen, looking for the kids, but the kitchen door was open. The kids gone. He went upstairs, but came to the glass panel marked closed area, and the door was locked. He needed a security guard to go further. Grant couldn't get in. From somewhere inside the hallway, he heard the raptors snarling. The leathery reptile skin touched Tim's face. The claws tore his shirt, and Tim fell onto his back, shrieking in fright. "Timmy!" Lex yelled. Tim scrambled to his feet again. The baby velociraptor perched on his shoulder, chirping and squeaking in panic. Tim and Lex were in the white nursery. There were toys on the floor. A rolling yellow ball, a doll, a plastic rattle. "It's the baby raptor," Lex said, pointing to the animal gripping Tim's shoulder. The little raptor burrowed its head into Tim's neck. The poor thing was probably starving, Tim thought. Lex came closer, and the baby hopped onto her shoulder. It rubbed against her neck. "Why is it doing that?" she said. "Is it scared?" "I don't know," Tim said. She passed the raptor back to Tim. The baby was chirping and squeaking, and hopping up and down on his shoulder excitedly. It kept looking around, head moving quickly. No doubt about it, the little thing was worked up and... "Tim!" Lex whispered. The door to the hallway hadn't closed behind them after they entered the nursery. Now the big velociraptors were coming through. First one, then a second. Clearly agitated, the baby chirped and bounced on Tim's shoulder. Tim knew he had to get away. Maybe the baby would distract them. Oh no. After all, it was a baby raptor. He plucked the little animal from his shoulder and threw it across the room. "Hi, Brandon. Welcome in." The baby scurried between the legs of the adults. The first raptor lowered its snout, sniffed at the baby delicately. Tim took Lex's hand and pulled her deeper into the nursery. He had to find a door, a way to get out. There was a high, piercing shriek. Tim looked back to see the baby in the jaws of the adult. A second velociraptor came. A second velociraptor came forward and tore at the limbs of the infant, trying to pull it from the mouth of the first. The two raptors fought over the baby as it squealed. Blood splattered in large drops onto the floor. "They ate him," Lex said. The raptors fought over the remains of the baby, rearing back and butting heads. Tim found a door. It was unlocked, and went through, pulling Lex after him. R.I.P. baby raptor. They were in another room. From the deep green glow, he realized it was the deserted DNA extraction laboratory. The rows of stereo microscopes abandoned. The high-resolution screens showing frozen, giant black and white images of insects. The flies and gnats that had bitten dinosaurs millions of years ago, sucking the blood that now had been used to recreate dinosaurs in the park. They ran through the laboratory, and Tim could hear the snorts and snarls of the raptors pursuing them, coming closer. And then he went to the back of the lab and through a door that must have had an alarm, because in the narrow corridor an intermittent siren sounded shrilly, and the lights overhead flashed on and off. Running down the corridor, Tim was plunged into darkness, then light again, then darkness. Over the sound of the alarm, he heard the raptors snort as they pursued him. Lex was whimpering and moaning. Tim saw another door ahead with the blue biohazard sign, and he slammed into the door and moved beyond it. And suddenly he collided with something big, and Lex shrieked in terror. "Take it easy, kids," a voice said. Tim blinked in disbelief. Standing above him was Dr. Grant, and next to him was Mr. Gennaro. Outside in the hallway, it had taken Grant nearly 2 minutes to realize that the dead guard down in the lobby probably had a security card. He'd gone back and gotten it, and entered the upper corridor, moving quickly down the hallway. He had followed the sound of the raptors and found them fighting in the nursery. He was sure the kids would have gone to the next room and had immediately run to the extractions lab. And there he'd met the kids. Now the raptors were coming toward them. The animals seemed momentarily hesitant, surprised by the appearance of more people. Grant pushed the kids into Gennaro's arms and said, "Take them back someplace safe." "But through there," Grant said, pointing over his shoulder to a far door. "Take them to the control room if you can. You should all be safe there." "What are you going to do?" Gennaro said. The raptors stood near the door. Grant noticed that they waited until all the animals were together, and then they moved forward as a group. "Pack hunters," he shivered. "I have a plan," Grant said. "Now go on." Gennaro led the kids away. The raptors continued slowly toward Grant, moving past the supercomputers, past the screens that still blinked endless sequences of computer-deciphered code. The raptors came forward without hesitation, sniffing the floor, repeatedly ducking their heads. Grant heard the door click behind him and glanced over his shoulder. Everybody was standing on the other side of the glass door, watching him. Gennaro shook his head. Grant knew what it meant. There was no door to the control room beyond. Gennaro and the kids were trapped in there. It was up to him now. Grant moved slowly, edging around the library, leading the raptors away from Gennaro and the kids. He could see another door, nearer the front, which was marked to laboratory, whatever that meant. He had an idea, and he hoped he was right. The door had a blue biohazard sign. The raptors were coming closer. Grant turned and slammed into the door and moved beyond it into a deep, warm silence. He turned. Yes, he was right where he wanted to be, in the hatchery. Beneath infrared lights, long tables with rows of eggs and a low clinging mist. The rockers on the tables clicked and whirred in a steady motion. The mist poured over the sides of the tables and drifted to the floor, where it disappeared, evaporated. Grant ran directly to the rear of the hatchery, into a glass-walled laboratory with ultraviolet light. His clothing glowed blue. He looked around at the glass regents, beakers full of pipettes, glass dishes, all delicate laboratory equipment. The raptors entered the room, cautiously at first, sniffing the humid air, looking at the long rocking tables of eggs. The lead animal whipped its bloody jaws, wiped its bloody jaws with the back of its forearm. Silently, the raptors passed between the long tables. The animals moved through the room in a coordinated way, ducking from time to time to peer beneath the tables. They were looking for him. Grant crouched and moved to the back of the laboratory. He looked up and saw the metal hood marked with a skull and crossbones. A sign said, "Caution, biogen toxins. A4 precautions required." Grant remembered that Regis had said they were powerful poisons. Only a few molecules would kill instantaneously. The hood lay flush against the surface of the lab table. Grant could not slip his hand under it. He tried to open it, but there was no door, no handle, no way he could see. Grant rose slowly and glanced back at the main room. The raptors were still moving among the tables. He turned to the hood and saw an odd metal fixture sunk into the surface of the table. It looked like an outdoor electrical outlet with a round cover. He flipped up the cover, saw a button, pressed it. With a soft hiss, the hood slid upwards to the ceiling. He saw glass shelves above him and rows of bottles marked with the skull and crossbones. And he peered at the labels. CCK55 tetra-alpha-secretin, thymalevolin, X1612. The fluids glowed pale green in the ultraviolet light. Nearby, he saw a glass dish with syringes in it. The syringes were small, each containing a tiny amount of green glowing fluid. Crouched in the blue darkness, Grant reached for the dish of syringes. The needles on the syringes were capped in plastic. He removed one cap, pulling it off with his teeth. He looked at the thin needle. He moved forward, toward the raptors. He had devoted his whole life to studying dinosaurs. Now he would see how much he really knew. Velociraptors were small carnivorous dinosaurs, like oviraptors and Dromaeosaurus. Animals that were long thought to steal eggs. Just as certain modern birds ate the eggs of other birds, Grant had always assumed that velociraptors would eat dinosaur eggs if they could. He crept forward to the nearest egg table in the hatchery. Slowly, he reached up into the mist and took a large egg from the rocking table. The egg was almost the size of a football, cream-colored with faint pink speckling. He held the egg carefully while he stuck the needle through the shell and injected the contents of the syringe. The egg glowed faint blue. Grant bent down again. Beneath the table, he saw the legs of the raptors and the mist pouring down from the tabletops. He rolled the glowing egg along the floor toward the raptors. The raptors looked up, hearing the faint rumble as the eggs rolled and jerked their heads around. Then they resumed their slow stalking search. Derp13, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the deep end. Or, not derpy. It's derpy. Not derp13, derpy. It took me a minute. Derpy. The egg stopped several yards from the nearest raptor. Damn. Grant did it all again, quietly reaching up for an egg, bringing it down, injecting it, and rolling it toward the raptors. This time, the egg came to rest by the foot of one velociraptor. It rocked gently, clicking against the big toe claw. The raptor looked down in surprise at this new gift. It bent over and sniffed the glowing egg. It rolled the egg with its snout along the floor for a moment and ignored it. The velociraptor stood upright again, slowly moved on, continuing to search. It wasn't working. I was gonna say, call me derp. Yeah. Welcome in, how are you doing? Are you a big Jurassic Park fan? I am. Have you ever read the book before? Grant reached for a third egg and injected it with a fresh syringe. He held the glowing egg in his hands and rolled it again, but he rolled this one fast, like a bowling ball. The egg rattled across the floor loudly. One of the animals heard the sound, ducked down, saw it coming, and instinctively chased the moving object, gliding swiftly among the tables to intercept the egg as it rolled. The big jaws snapped down and bit into it, crushing the shell. The raptor stood, pale albumin dripping from its jaws. It licked its lips noisily and snorted. It bit again and lapped the egg from the floor, but it didn't seem to be in the least distressed. It bent over to eat again from the broken egg. Grant looked down to see what would happen. From across the room, the raptor saw him. It was looking right at him. Sam was actually made to... Oh, really? That's so interesting that they made you read it for biology. Huh. Grant did it all again. Quite. Oh no, I already read that. Looking right at him. There we go. There I am. The velociraptor snarled menacingly. It moved toward Grant, crossing the room in long, incredibly swift strides. Grant was shocked to see it happening and froze in panic, when suddenly the animal made a gasping, gurgling sound, and the big body pitched forward onto the ground. The heavy tail thumped the floor in spasms. The raptor continued to make choking sounds, punctuated by intermittent loud shrieks. Foam bubbled its mouth. The head flopped back and forth. The tail slammed and thumped. That's one, Grant thought. The details they go into about DNA and how they extracted it and the cloning process and everything, extremely detailed, and that's why they wanted us to focus. There's details in the book that went on. That makes sense, I guess. I don't remember doing any kind of reading like that in biology. Not even in my AP bio class. But it wasn't dying very fast. It seemed to take forever to die. Grant reached up for another egg and saw that the other raptors in the room were frozen in mid-action. They listened to the sound of the dying animal. One cocked its head, then another, and another. The first animal moved to look at the fallen raptor. The dying raptor was now twitching. The whole body shaking on the floor. It made pitiful moans. So much foam bubbled from its mouth that Grant could hardly see the head anymore. It flopped on the floor and moaned again. The second raptor bent over the fallen animal, examining it. It appeared to be puzzled by these death throes. Cautiously, it looked at the foaming head. Then moved down to the twitching neck, and the heaving ribs, the legs. And it took a bite from the hind leg. Then we're getting more raptor cannibalism. Freshman in high school during 9/11. All right, Grandpa, Grandma, Unc. Greetings, fellow Unc. I'm not that old though. You're definitely older than me. You're definitely older than, much older than me. Shit, how old was I in 2001? Shit. Let me do some math real quick. First time a streamer called me old, I love it. You're welcome. Ooh, baby. I was 9 years old. I was like 9, 10 years old. Yeah, I was 10 years old. Wee. Dang, you're old now. Shut up. Shut up, Kotal Smasher. Shut up. I spit on you. You is not that much younger than me. Listen. Listen, I was 10 years old and you were a freshman in high school. That's still plenty younger. That's still plenty younger. That's why I said greetings, fellow Unk. Listen, listen, my followers, not the new ones, but like the ones when I started VTubing. The ones when I started VTubing, they call me Auntie. I'm Auntie Sin. You were 14 when it happened. Bitch, what did you start freshman of high school early? What the fuck? It's funny to always be young. Oh, babies. My little babies. You're all my little babies, yes. 14 is the average age for freshmen in high school. Listen, I don't fucking know. Maybe I just knew people, because I knew most of the people that I knew when I was in high school started at 15. I started like I'm a summer baby, so I definitely started when I was 14. But usually my like I don't they're like 15, right? And then 16 is maybe I'm just stupid. My old lady brain, you know, my old lady brain. If it makes you feel better, graduated high school a year late. What did you do? Get held back a year? Did you fail a grade? I'm a winter baby. I turned 15 at the second half of freshman. Ah. Are you a December baby? My younger sister's a December baby. But are you like a Capricorn or are you a Sagittarius? You failed 4 years worth of English? What the fuck? Huh? What? What? Huh? See, I don't understand failing English. Oh, February? English is second language, Spanish is first. Ah. Okay, you know what? I forgive you. You're forgiven. You're forgiven. You're forgiven. It's okay to hate on me for being Aquarius. I'm used to it. Listen, I'm a Gemini, alright? I know the hate. Nobody likes a fucking Gemini. Alright, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Oof. I'm glad this is my first intro into the Jurassic Park book. Well, you're coming in at the end. We've got like 50 pages left, I think. Yeah, like 50 pages left. Lovely model concept, especially love the magical book. Thanks. I got the book for my birthday. You can find it on Etsy. I actually have my my credits document right there. Yeah, 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 yeah. So if you want to see where all my shit is from, yeah, yeah. And actually, let me shit, I don't have it up. Hold on, I'm gonna show you my actual model concept, like my design, my actual design, because this is just a pre-made model. So let me show you my actual character design. Very very pretty, very pretty. Oh shit. Uh 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 it's very uh that's very large. Hold on. That's very large. Oh, who bonked me? Why you bonk me? Still Suika kill. Yes, she did. It's very good. Fuck. That one's even worse. Well, ooh, this one. This one. There we go. There we go. That's better. That's better. That's better. Here, here. This is my. Shit. Go back the other. Fuck. This is my. There. This is my actual character design right here. That's huge. Yeah, it's because I'm a big ass sea dragon woman. Yeah. Fuck yeah. All right. This is my actual design. Sea dragon. Okay, so 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 I'm not a sea dragon. I'm just sea dragon shaped. I am a Bakunawa. All right. I'm a Bakunawa. What is a Bakunawa? Bakunawa is a creature, a mythological creature, a folkloric creature, if you will, from the central Philippines. Once upon a time, the Earth had 7 moons. I ate 6 of those moons, and I'm coming for the 7th one, okay? Because they taste delicious, and I need that shit in my belly right now. I cause eclipses, monsoons, I cause eclipses, monsoons, tidal, like, yeah, yeah, all of that shit. That's me. You're welcome. You're wet because of me. Moon cheese? No. No, that's actually propaganda. The moon does not taste like cheese. Like, it tastes like rock sugar. Tsunamis as well? Yes. I cause all of that. And earthquakes. I know everyone telling me it isn't made of cheese. I'm starting to think they're hiding the truth. No, that's propaganda. They want you to think that the moon is made of cheese, right? But it's actually made of sugar. You mean to tell me I could have had 6 more moons if you didn't eat them? Scam. Yep. Could have had 6 more moons, but I ate them because they're delicious. And also, I like how bright they are. I live in the deep dark abyss, you know. I need them as like little night lights. Their light goes out like every 400 years. That's why I keep coming back for more. You might want to grow a new moon. Just saying. How do I know that this isn't propaganda? Because I'm telling you. I'm telling you. They taste like sugar. I would never lie to you. I would never lie to you, alright? Me, look at me. Look into my eyes. Alright? Look into my eyes. Cordell Smasher, look into my eyes. Look at me. Look into my eyes. Alright, I'll take my glasses off for you. Look into my eyes. I would never lie to you. I would never lie to you. They taste like sugar. You believe me, don't you? I would never lie to you. I will never lie to you. You believe me, right? You believe me, right? I won't lie. No, I don't lie. I don't lie. You believe me, right? Sounds like something a liar would say. Psh, ouch! How dare you? How dare you? I believe you if you told me I could walk on the sun. See, Derpy knows where it's at. Derpy knows what they're talking about. If it didn't bonk you, I would know that you were lying. So you had to bonk me to verify that it's true. Alright. It took a bite from the hind leg. The dying animal snarled and suddenly lifted its head and twisted, sinking its teeth into the neck of its attacker. That's two, Grant thought. But the standing animal wrenched free. Blood flowed from its neck. It struck out with its hind claws, and with a single swift movement, ripped open the belly of the fallen animal. Coils of intestine fell out like flat snakes. The screams of the dying raptor filled the room. The attacker turned away, as if fighting was suddenly too much trouble. It crossed the room, ducked down, and came up with a glowing egg. Grant watched as the raptor bit into it, the glowing material dripping down its chin. That makes two. Thank you for the lurk. The second raptor was stricken almost instantly, coughing and pitching forward. As it fell, it knocked over a table. Dozens of eggs rolled everywhere across the floor. Grant looked at them in dismay. There was still a third raptor left. Grant had one more syringe. With so many eggs rolling on the floor, he would have to do something else. He was trying to decide what to do when the last animal snorted irritably. Grant looked up. The raptor had spotted him. The final raptor did not move for a long time. It just stared. And then it slowly, quietly came forward, stalking him, bobbing up and down, looking first beneath tables, then above them. It moved deliberately, cautiously, with none of the swiftness that it had displayed in a pack. A solitary animal now. It was careful. It never took its eyes off Grant. Grant looked around quickly. There was nowhere for him to hide. Nothing for him to do. Grant's gaze was fixed on the raptor, moving slowly, laterally. Grant moved too. He tried to keep as many tables as he could between himself and the advancing animal. Slowly, slowly, he moved to the left. The raptor advanced in the dark red gloom of the hatchery. Its breath came in soft hisses through flared nostrils. Grant felt eggs breaking beneath his feet, the yolk sticking to the soles of his shoes. He crouched down, felt the bulge of the radio in his pocket. The radio. He pulled it from his pocket and turned it on. "Hello, this is Grant." "Alan?" Ellie's voice. "Alan?" "Listen," he said softly. "Just talk." "Alan, is that you?" "Talk," he said again, and he pushed the radio across the floor away from him, toward the advancing raptor. He crouched behind a table leg and waited. "Alan, speak to me, please." Then a crackle, and silence. The radio remained silent. The raptor advanced, soft, hissing breath. The radio was still silent. What was the matter with her? Didn't she understand? In the darkness, the raptor came closer. "Alan?" The tinny voice from the radio made the big animal pause. It sniffed the air, as if sensing someone else in the room. "Alan, it's me. I don't know if you can hear me." The raptor now turned away from Grant and moved toward the radio. "Alan, please." Why hadn't he pushed the radio farther away? The raptor was going toward it, but it was close. The big foot came down very near him. Grant could see the pebbled skin, the soft green glow, the streaks of dried blood on the curved claw. He could smell the strong reptile odor. "Alan, listen to me. Alan." The raptor bent over, poked at the radio on the floor, tentatively. Its body was turned away from Grant. The big tail was right above Grant's head. Grant reached up and jabbed the syringe deep into the flesh of the tail and injected the poison. The velociraptor snarled and jumped. With frightening speed, it swung back toward Grant, jaws wide. It snapped, its jaws closing on the table leg, and jerked its head up. The table was knocked away, and Grant fell back, now completely exposed. The raptor loomed over him, rising up, its head banging into the infrared lights above, making them swing crazily. "Alan." The raptor reared back and lifted its clawed foot to kick. Grant rolled, and the foot slammed down, just missing him. He felt a searing, sharp pain along his shoulder blades, the sudden warm flow of blood over his shirt. He rolled across the floor, crushing eggs, smearing his hands, his face. The raptor kicked again, smashing down on the radio, spattering sparks. It snarled in rage and kicked a third time, and Grant came to the wall, nowhere else to go. The animal raised its foot a final time and toppled backwards, The animal was wheezing. Foam came from its mouth. Shannara and the kids came into the room. Grant signaled them to stay back. The girl looked at the dying animal and said softly, "Wow. Ehert, hello. Welcome back." My stability went down for a little bit there. I don't know what happened, but it seems like we're back and good to go. Shannara helped Grant to his feet. They all turned and ran for the control room. Meow. Alright, I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a quick stretch break and also feed the cat. So I'm gonna run like a minute ad while we're gone. Sit tight.
Banana.
Oh, a new follower. How delightfully reckless of you. Welcome in. Let's jump in to the next chapter. Thank you, Brandon. Tim was astonished to find the screen in the control room was now flashing on and off. Lex said, "What happened?" Tim saw Dr. Grant staring at the screen and gingerly moving his hand toward the keyboard. "I don't know about computers," Grant said, shaking his head. But Tim was already sliding into the seat. He touched the screen rapidly. On the video monitors, he could see the boat moving closer to the Punta Arenas. It was now only about 200 yards from the dock. On the other monitor, he saw the lodge, with the raptors hanging down from the ceiling. On the radio, he heard their snarls. "Do something, Timmy," Lex said. He pushed Set Grid's DNI, even though it was flashing. The screen answered. "Warning, command execution aborted. Auxiliary power low." "What does that mean?" Tim said. Gennaro snapped his fingers. "That's happened before. It means auxiliary power is low. You have to turn on the main power." "I do?" He pushed electric main. Tim groaned. "What are you doing now?" Grid asked. The whole screen was starting to flash. Tim pushed main. Nothing happened. The screen continued to flash. Tim pushed main grid P. He felt sick to his stomach with fear. Main power grid not active. Auxiliary power only. The screen was still flashing. He pushed main set 1. Main power activated. All the lights in the room came on. All the monitor screens stopped flashing. "Hey, all right." Tim pressed reset grids. Nothing happened for a moment. He glanced at the video monitors, then back to the main screen. "Which grid do you want to reset?" Grant said something that Tim didn't hear. He only heard the tension in his voice. He was looking at Tim, worried. Tim felt his heart thumping in his chest. Lex was yelling at him. He didn't want to look at the video monitor anymore. He could hear the sound of the bars bending in the lodge, and the raptors snarling. He heard Malcolm say, "Dear God." He pushed lodge. Specify grid number to reset. For a frozen, interminable moment. He couldn't remember the number. But then he remembered F4, and he pressed that. Activating lodge grid F4 now. On the video monitor, he saw an explosion of sparks, sputtering down from the ceiling of the hotel room. The monitor flared white. Lex shouted, "What did you do?" But almost immediately, the image came back and they could see that the raptors were caught between the bars, writhing and screaming in a hot cascade of sparks, while Muldoon and the others cheered, their voices tinny over the radio. "That's it," Grant said, slapping Tim on the back. "That's it. You did it." They were all standing and jumping up and down when Lex said, "What about the ship?" "That's right, the ship." "The what?" "The ship," she said, and pointed to the screen. The power grid. "Walk him down until he expires." I have seen some interesting names lately. Seen many interesting names. Yeah. On the monitor, the buildings beyond the bow of the ship were much larger and moving to the right as the ship turned left and prepared to dock. He saw crewmen heading out to the bow, preparing to tie up. Tim scrambled back to his seat and stared at the startup screen. He studied the screen. Telecom BBB. Telecom RSD. Both looked like they might have something to do with telephones. He pressed Telecom RSD. "You have 23 waiting calls and or messages. Do you wish to receive them now?" He pushed no. "Maybe the ship was one of the waiting calls," Lex said. "Maybe that way you could get the phone number." He ignored her. "Enter the number you wish to call, or press F7 for directory." He pushed F7, and suddenly names and numbers spilled over the screen. An enormous directory. It wasn't alphabetical, and it took a while to scan visually before he found what he was looking for.
Banana.
VSL and B. Freddy. Sybil's Pastry, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. Now all he had to do was figure out how to dial. He pushed a row of buttons at the bottom of the screen. Dial now or dial later. He pushed dial now. Thank you for the head pads. "We're sorry. Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Error 598. Please try again." He tried it again. He heard a dial tone, then the tone of the numbers being automatically dialed in rapid succession. "Is that it?" Grant said. "Pretty good, Timmy," Lex said, "but they're almost there." On the screen, they could see the prow of the ship closing on the Punta Arenas dock. They heard a high-pitched squeal, and then a voice said, "Ah, hello, John. This is Freddy. Do you read me? Over." Tim picked up the phone on the console, but heard only a dial tone. "Hello, John. This is Freddy. Over." "Answer it," Lex said. Now, they were all picking up phones, lifting every receiver in sight, but they heard only dial tones. Finally, Tim saw a phone mounted on the side of the console with a blinking light. "Hello, Control. This is Freddy. Do you read me? Over." Tim grabbed the receiver. "Hello, This is Tim Murphy, and I need you to, say again. Didn't get that, John. Don't land that boat. Do you hear me? There was a pause. Then a puzzled voice said, Sounds like a damn kid. Tim said, Don't land the ship. Come back to the island. The voices sounded distant and scratchy. Did he name was Murphy? And another voice said, I didn't get name. Tim looked frantically at the others. Gennaro reached for the phone. Let me do this. Can you get his name? There was the sharp crackle of static. Gotta be a joke or else. Friggin' ham operator, something. Tim was working on the keyboard. There was probably some kind of way to find out who Freddy was. Can you hear me? Gennaro said into the phone. If you can hear me, answer now. Over. Son, came the drawled reply. We don't know who the hell you are, but you're not funny, and we're about to dock, and we've got work to do. Now identify yourself properly or get off this channel. Tim watched as the screen printed out Farrell Frederick. Try this for identification, Captain Farrell, Gennaro said. If you don't turn that boat around and return to this island immediately, you will be found in violation of Section 509 of the Uniform Maritime Act. You will be subject to revocation of license, penalties, and excess of $50,000 and 5 years in jail. Do you hear that? There was a silence. Do you copy that, Captain Farrell? And then, distantly, they heard a voice say, I copy. And another voice said, All ahead stern. The boat began to turn away from the dock. Lex began to cheer. Tim collapsed back in the chair, wiping the sweat away from his forehead. Grant said, What's the Uniform Maritime Act? Who the hell knows, Gennaro said. They all watched the screen in satisfaction. The boat was definitely heading away from the shore. I guess the hard part's finished, Gennaro said. Grant shook his head. The hard part, he said, is just beginning. You have a nice voice for reading. Thank you. I have the second book also, so I plan on reading that after we take a little break. Probably take a few days off of the reading before I start that one, once we finish this. Alright. They moved Malcolm to another room in the lodge, to a clean bed. Hammond seemed to revive and began bustling around, straightening up. Well, he said, at least disaster is averted. What disaster is that? Malcolm said, sighing. Well, Hammond said, they didn't get free and overrun the world. Malcolm sat up on one elbow. You were worried about that? Surely that's what was at stake, Hammond said. These animals, lacking predators, might get out and destroy the planet. You egomaniacal idiot, Malcolm said in a fury. Do you have any idea what you're talking about? You think you can destroy the planet? My, what intoxicating power you must have. Malcolm sank back on the bed. You can't destroy this planet. You can't even come close. Most people believe, Hammond said stiffly, that the planet is in jeopardy. Well, it's not, Malcolm said. All the experts agree that our planet is in trouble. Malcolm sighed. Let me tell you about our planet, he said. Our planet is 4.5 billion years old. There has been life on this planet for nearly that long. 3.8 billion years. The first bacteria, and later, the first multicellular animals, then the first complex creatures in the sea, on the land. Then the great sweeping ages of animals, the amphibians, the dinosaurs, the mammals, each lasting millions upon millions of years. Great dynasties of creatures arising, flourishing, dying away. All this happening against a background of continuous and violent upheaval. Mountain ranges thrust up and eroded away. Cometary impacts, volcanic eruptions, oceans rising and falling, whole continents moving, endless, constant, and violent change. Even today, the greatest geographical feature on the planet comes from two great continents colliding, buckling to make the Himalayan mountain range over millions of years. The planet has survived everything in its time. It will certainly survive us. Hammond frowned. Just because it lasted a long time, he said, doesn't mean it is permanent. If there was a radiation accident. Suppose there was, Malcolm said. Let's say we had a bad one, and all the plants and animals died, and the earth was clicking hot for 100,000 years. Life would survive somewhere under the soil, or perhaps frozen in Arctic ice. And after all those years, when the planet was no longer inhospitable, life would again spread over the planet. The evolutionary process would begin again. It might take a few billion years for life to regain its present variety. And of course, it would be very different from what it is now. But the earth would survive our folly. Life would survive our folly. Only we, Malcolm said, think it wouldn't. Kind of stupid, honestly. Humans could definitely off them all. With enough effort, yeah, sure. It would take some time to regroup and organize. Hammond said, well, if the ozone layer gets thinner, there will be more ultraviolet radiation reaching the surface. So what? Well, it'll cause skin cancer. Malcolm shook his head. Ultraviolet radiation is good for life. It's powerful energy. It promotes mutation, change. Many forms of life will thrive with more UV radiation. And many others will die out, Hammond said. Malcolm sighed. You think this is the first time such a thing has happened? Don't you know about oxygen? I know it's necessary for life. It is now, Malcolm said, but oxygen is actually a metabolic poison. It's a corrosive gas, like fluorine, which is used to etch glass. And when oxygen was first produced as a waste product by certain plant cells, say, around 3 billion years ago, it created a crisis for all other life on our planet. Those plant cells were polluting the environment with a deadly poison. They were exhaling a lethal gas and building up its concentration. A planet like Venus has less than 1% oxygen on Earth. On Earth, the concentration of oxygen was going up rapidly. 5, 10, eventually 21%. Earth had an atmosphere of pure poison, incompatible with life. Hammond looked irritated. So what's your point? That modern pollutants will be incorporated too? No, Malcolm said. My point is that life on Earth can take care of itself. In the thinking of a human being, 100 years is a long time. 100 years ago, we didn't have cars and airplanes and computers and vaccines. It was a whole different world. But to the Earth, 100 years is nothing. 1,000,000 years is nothing. This planet lives and breathes on a much vaster scale. We can't imagine its slow and powerful rhythms, and we haven't got the humility to try. We have been residents here for the blink of an eye. If we are gone tomorrow, the Earth will not miss us. And we very well might be gone. Hammond said, huffing. Yes, Malcolm said, we might. So, what are you saying? We shouldn't care about the environment? No, of course not. Then what? Malcolm coughed and stared into the distance. Let's be clear. The planet is not in jeopardy. We are in jeopardy. We haven't got the power to destroy the planet or to save it, but we might have the power to save ourselves. Four hours had passed. It was afternoon. The sun was falling. The air conditioning was back in the control room, and the computer was functioning properly. As near as they could determine, out of 24 people on the island, 8 were dead, and 6 more were missing. The visitor center and the safari lodge were both secure, and the northern perimeter seemed to be clear of dinosaurs. They had called authorities in San Jose for help. The Costa Rican National Guard was on its way, as well as an air ambulance to carry Malcolm to a hospital. But over the telephone, the Costa Rican Guard had been distinctly cautious. Undoubtedly, calls would go back and forth between San Jose and Washington before help was finally sent to the island. And now, it was growing late in the day. If the helicopters did not arrive soon, they would have to wait until morning. In the meantime, there was nothing to do but wait. The ship was returning. The crew had discovered 3 young raptors scampering about in one of the aft holds and had killed the animals. On Isla Nublar, the immediate danger appeared to have passed. Everyone was in either the visitor center or the lodge. Tim had gotten quite good with the computer, and he flashed up on a new screen. My jaw is getting tense. I have to loosen it up a minute. Hold on. Ah. Blah, 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 blah. think that should be okay for now. Yeah, I have I have TMJ, so my jaw, like, it gets tense sometimes, or like the joint gets locked. TMJD. What the hell is it doing now? Gennaro said. Now it says there are fewer animals? Grant nodded. Probably. Ellie said, Jurassic Park is finally coming under control. Meaning what? Equilibrium. Grant pointed to the monitors. On one of them, the hypsilophodonts leapt into the air as a pack of velociraptors entered the field from the west. The fences have been down for hours, Grant said. The animals are mingling with each other. Populations reaching equilibrium. A true Jurassic equilibrium. I don't think it was supposed to happen, Gennaro said. The animals were never supposed to mix. Well, they are. On another monitor, Grant saw a pack of raptors racing at full speed across an open field toward a 4-ton hadrosaur. The hadrosaur turned to flee, and one of the raptors jumped onto its back, biting into the long neck, while others raced forward, circled around it, nipped at its legs, leapt up to slash at the belly with their powerful claws. Within minutes, 6 raptors had brought down the larger animal. Grant stared silently. Ellie said, Is it the way you imagined? I don't know what I imagined, he said. He watched the monitor. No, not exactly. Muldoon said quietly, You know, it appears all the adult raptors are out right now. Grant didn't pay much attention at first. He just watched the monitors. The interaction of the great animals. In the south, the Stegosaurus was swinging its spiked tails, warily circling the baby Tyrannosaur, which watched it, bemused, and occasionally lunged forward to nip ineffectually at the spikes. In the western quadrant, the adult Triceratopsians were fighting among themselves, charging and locking horns. One animal already lay wounded and dying. Muldoon said, We've got about an hour of good daylight left, Dr. Grant, if you want to try and find that nest. Right, Grant said. I do. I was thinking, Muldoon said, that when the Costa Ricans come, they will probably imagine this island to be a military problem. Something to destroy as soon as possible. Damn right, Gennaro said. They'll bomb it from the air, Muldoon said. Perhaps napalm, perhaps nerve gas as well, but from the air. I hope they do, Gennaro said. This island is too dangerous. Every animal on this island must be destroyed, and the sooner the better. Grant said, That's not satisfactory. He got to his feet. Let's get started. I don't think you understand, Alan, Gennaro said. It's my opinion that this island is too dangerous. It must be destroyed. Every animal on this island must be destroyed, and that's what the Costa Rican Guard will do. I think we should leave it in their capable hands. Do you understand what I'm saying? Perfectly, Grant said again. Then what's your problem? Gennaro said. It's a military operation. Let them do it. Grant's back ached, where the raptor had clawed him. No, he said. We have to take care of it. Leave it to the experts, Gennaro said. Grant remembered how he had found Gennaro just 6 hours earlier, huddled and terrified in the cab of a truck in the maintenance building. And suddenly he lost his temper and slammed the lawyer up against the concrete wall. Listen, you little bastard. You have a responsibility to this situation, and you're going to start living up to it. I am, Gennaro said, coughing. No, you're not. You've shirked your responsibility all along, from the very beginning. The hell? You sold investors on an undertaking you didn't fully understand. You were part owner of a business you failed to supervise. You did not check the activities of a man whom you knew from experience to be a liar. And you permitted that man to screw around with the most dangerous technology in human history. I'd say you shirked your responsibility. No, Grant said. You're still shirking it. And you can't do that anymore. He released Gennaro, who bent over, gasping for breath. Grant turned to Muldoon. What have we got for weapons? Muldoon said, we've got some control nets and shock prods. How good are these shock prods? Grant said. They're like bang sticks for sharks. They have an explosive capacitor tip, delivers a shock on contact. High voltage, low amps. Not fatal, but it's definitely incapacitating. That's not going to do it, Grant said. Not in the nest. What nest? Gennaro said, coughing. The raptor nest, Ellie said. The raptor nest? Grant was saying, have you got any radio collars? I'm sure we do, Muldoon said. Get one. And is there anything else that can be used for defense? Muldoon shook his head. Well, get whatever you can. Muldoon went away. Grant turned to Gennaro. Your island is a mess, Mr. Gennaro. Your experiment is a mess. It has to be cleaned up. But you can't do that until you know the extent of the mess. And that means finding the nests on this island, especially the raptor nests. They'll be hidden. We have to find them and inspect them and count the eggs. We have to account for every animal born on this island. Then we can burn it down. But first, we have a little work to do. Ellie was looking at the wall map, which now showed the animal ranges. Tim was working on the keyboard. She pointed to the map. The raptors are localized in the southern area, down where the volcanic steam fields are. Maybe they like the warmth. Is there any place to hide down there? Turns out there is, she said. There's massive concrete waterworks to control flooding in the southern flatlands. Big underground area, water and shade. Raw ghosts. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the deep end. Banana. Grant nodded. Then that's where they'll be. Ellie said, I think there's an entrance from the beach, too. She turned to the consoles and said, Tim, show us the cutaways on the waterworks. Tim wasn't listening. Tim? He was hunched over the keyboard. Just a minute, he said. I found something. What is it? It's an unmarked storage room. I don't know what's there. Then it might have weapons, Grant said. They were all behind the maintenance building, unlocking a steel storm door, lifting it up into the sunlight to reveal concrete steps going down into the earth. Damned Arnold, Muldoon said as he hobbled down the steps. He must have known this was here all along. Maybe not, Grant said. He didn't try to go here. Well then, Hammond knew. Somebody knew. Where's Hammond now? Still in the lodge. They reached the bottom of the stairs and came upon rows of gas masks hanging on the walls in plastic containers. They shone their flashlights deeper into the room and saw several heavy glass cubes 2 feet high with steel caps. Grant could see small dark spheres inside the cubes. It was like being in a room full of giant pepper mills, he thought. Muldoon opened the cap of one, reached in, and withdrew a sphere. He turned it in the light, frowning. I'll be damned. How are you doing, ghosts? What is it? Grant said. Moro 12, Muldoon said. It's an inhalation nerve gas. These are grenades. Lots and lots of grenades. Let's get started, Grant said grimly. It likes me, Lex said, smiling. They were standing in the garage of the visitor center, by the little raptor that Grant had captured in the tunnel. She was petting the raptor through the cage bars. The animal rubbed up against her hand. I'd be careful there, Muldoon said. They can give a nasty bite. He likes me, Lex said. His name is Clarence. Clarence? Yes, Lex said. Muldoon was holding the leather collar with the small metal box attached to it. Grant heard the high-pitched beeping in the headset. Is it a problem? Putting the collar on the animal? Lex was still petting the raptor, reaching through the cage. I bet he'll let me put it on him, she said. I wouldn't try, Muldoon said. They're unpredictable. I bet he'll let me, she said. Smoking and listening to your beautiful voice. Aw, thank you. So Muldoon gave Lex the collar, and she held it out so the raptor could smell it. Then she slowly slipped it around the animal's neck. The raptor turned brighter green when Lex buckled it and closed the Velcro cover over the buckle. Then the animal relaxed and turned paler again. I'll be damned, Muldoon said. It's a chameleon, Lex said. The other raptors couldn't do that, Muldoon said, frowning. This wild animal must be different. By the way, he said, turning to Grant, if they're all born females, how do they breed? You never explained that bit about the frog DNA. It's not frog DNA, Grant said. It's amphibian DNA. but the phenomenon happens to be particularly well documented in frogs, especially West African frogs, if I remember. What phenomenon is that? Gender transition, Grant said. Actually, it's just plain changing sex. Grant explained that a number of plants and animals were known to have the ability to change their sex during life. Orchids, some fish and shrimp, and now frogs. Frogs that had been observed to lay eggs were able to change, over a period of months, into complete males. They first adopted the fighting stance of males. They developed the mating whistle of males. They stimulated the hormones and grew the gonads of males. And eventually, they successfully mated with females. You're kidding, Shannara said. And what makes it happen? Apparently, the change is stimulated by an environment in which all the animals are of the same sex. In that situation, some of the amphibians will spontaneously begin to change sex from female to male. And you think that's what happened with the dinosaurs? Until we have a better explanation, yes, Grant said. I think that's what happened. Now, shall we find the nest? Drink some water real quick. How are you? I'm doing pretty well. Been reading for about 2 hours now. I've got my cat with me, sleeping under my desk, because that is where she likes to sleep. So I had to put her bed over there. Well, one of her beds. Oh, I'm really gonna need some stretchies. Ooh. After this, I'm probably gonna watch a movie before I go to sleep. Michael Alvarez, hello, thank you so much for the follow. How delightfully reckless of you. Welcome to the deep end. Which movie? I don't know yet. I watched all 3 of the Jurassic Parks. I watched Eurovision, The Story of Fire Saga. Should I watch a crying movie? I feel like I need a good cry. I haven't had a good cry since the events of last week. I'm gonna find a good crying movie, I think. I wonder if Eat, Pray, Love is on Netflix right now. I don't know what I'm gonna watch, but I'm gonna pick a movie that's gonna make me cry, because I need it. A good cry can be healing to the soul. Yeah. Unfortunately for me, I don't really have anyone that I feel comfortable venting to and crying it out with. I also try not to be like a drag on other people with my problems, you know? Like, I'll vent a little bit, but no one will ever get like the full extent of what I'm feeling. I save that for myself in the quiet places. We all got our own outlets, so it's all good. Yeah. My outlet used to be violence. I worked very hard to contain that. Oh, also poetry and songwriting. Yes, there. Don't look at me like that. I swear I'm not a violent person. Outwardly. They piled into the jeep, and Lex lifted the raptor from the cage. The animal seemed quite calm, almost tame in her hands. She gave it a final pat on the head and released it. The animal wouldn't leave. Go on, shoo, Lex said. Go home. Grant held the I missed a line. The raptor turned and ran off into the foliage. Grant held the receiver and wore the headphones. Muldoon drove. The car bounced along the main road, going south. Gennaro turned to Grant and said, "What is it like, this nest?" "Nobody knows," Grant said. "But I thought you've dug them up." "I've dug up fossil dinosaur nests," Grant said, "but all fossils are distorted by the weight of millennia. We've made some hypotheses, some suppositions, but nobody really knows what the nests were like." Grant listened to the beeps and signaled Muldoon to head farther west. It looked more and more as if Ellie had been correct. The nest was in the southern volcanic fields. Grant shook his head. "You have to realize, we don't know all the details about the nesting behavior of living reptiles. Like crocodiles and alligators, they're difficult animals to study. But it was known that in the case of American alligators, only the female guarded the nest, awaiting the time of hatching. The bull alligator spent days in early spring lying beside the female in a mating pair, blowing bubbles on her cheeks to bring her to receptivity, finally causing her to lift her tail and allow him to insert his penis. By the time the female built her nest, 2 months later, the male was long gone. It's okay, it's part of the book. The female guarded her cone-shaped, 3-foot-high nest ferociously, and when the hatchlings began to squeak and emerge from their shells, she often helped to break the eggs open, then nudged them toward the water, sometimes carrying them in her mouth. Yes, we are grown adults. We can handle these grown adult words. Yes. Alright, let's see. Bands can be a scary outlet. I understand, though. But I try to vent, write, draw. It's been my best alternative for a few years now. That's good. Yeah. I draw too. I'm not good at it, I don't think. But it's just because I'm out of practice. I need to get back into it. Except, I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna really lean into like the horror niche for my art. I need to finish charging my iPad so I can. Maybe I'll draw something while I'm watching a movie. Maybe I won't watch a crying movie tonight. Maybe I'll watch a horror movie. I wonder if any of the Conjuring movies are on Netflix right now. Or maybe I'll look at like a foreign horror film. Those are usually really good. I could either buy the final product or yeah, trust the process. That's it. That's the way to go. Just trust the process. I feel like I've always been more of an abstract artist, honestly. Kashua, bubbles, only 25 cents. You get 1 per stream. Welcome. So, adult alligators protect their young? Yes, Grant said. And there is also a kind of group protection. Young alligators make a distinctive distress cry, and it brings any adult who hears it, parent or not, to their assistance with a full-fledged violent attack. Not a threat display, a full-on attack. Hi, Kashua. Welcome back. How are you? Abstract art can be... Oh, yeah. No, I love abstract art. I don't know if you're in the... Actually, let me go ahead and... I'm gonna do this. I meant to do it earlier, but I forgot, so I'm just gonna pin that. There we go. I meant to pin that before, but I forgot. Just finished dinner. What did you have for dinner? I want to know. I had sushi for dinner. I'll eat your dinner too. I already ate it. Oh, Gennaro fell silent. But dinos aren't reptiles, Muldoon said laconically. Exactly. The dinosaur nesting patterns could be much more closely related to that of any variety of birds. So you actually mean you don't know, Gennaro said, getting annoyed. You don't know what the nest is like? No, Grant said. I don't. Green chile pork tacos with cantaloupe. Ooh. I want some cantaloupe. Do you post some of your art sometimes? Yeah, I post some of my art sometimes. They're, paintings usually. Pretty scuffed paintings. I also do clay models. I need to make some more. Maybe I'll make some like disfigured clay models. I don't usually bake them one at a time. I usually do like clusters and just bake them in groups and then paint them. Unless I'm using colored clay. I have one that I made. I need to do some more so I can bake them so they're nice and hard. Well, Gennaro said, so much for the damn experts. Grant ignored him. Already he could smell the sulfur, and up ahead he saw the rising steam of the volcanic fields. The ground was hot, Gennaro thought, as he walked forward. It was actually hot, and here and there mud bubbled and spat up from the ground, and the reeking sulphurous steam hissed in the great shoulder-high plumes. He felt as if he were walking through hell. Oh yeah, if it isn't firm and hard, you need to put that shit back and try again. You know what I mean? Can't have that shit squishing in your hand. It's gotta be hard. Is that some cantaloupe in the snacks channel? Ooh, I must look upon the cantaloupe. Cubed cut cantaloupe. Yum yum. You prefer honeydew? Hmm. I don't have much experience with honeydew. My mom, whenever she would get a melon, it was always cantaloupe. And then, of course, you know, when we were kids, watermelon. I'm not a huge fan of watermelon anymore. I, I'm a cantaloupe girl by default. Honeydew's so flavorless compared to cantaloupe. So, you know, if you have a good ripe cantaloupe, that shit is so sweet, so juicy, like dripping, dripping juice down your mouth. I was gonna say dripping wet, but then I was like, probably not the greatest word choice. Sticky after it dries. He looked at Grant, walking along with the headset on, listening to the beeps. Grant in his cowboy boots and his jeans and his Hawaiian shirt, apparently very cool. Gennaro didn't feel cool. He was frightened to be in this stinking, hellish place with the velociraptors somewhere around. He didn't understand how Grant could be so calm about it. Or the woman, Sattler. She was walking along too, just looking calmly around. Doesn't it bother you? Gennaro said. I mean, worry you. We've got to do it, Grant said. He didn't say anything else. They all walked forward, among the bubbling steam vents. Gennaro fingered the gas grenades that he had clipped to his belt. He turned to Ellie. Why isn't he worried about it? Maybe he is, she said. But he's also thought about this for his whole life. Gennaro nodded and wondered what that would be like. Whether there was anything he had waited his whole life for. He decided there wasn't anything. I need to fix my chair. Get some more water. Grant squinted in the sunlight, ahead through veils of steam. An animal crouched, looking at them. Then it scampered away. Was that the raptor? Ellie said. I think so. Or another one. Juvenile, anyway. She said, leading us on. Maybe. Ellie had told him how the raptors had played at the fence to keep her attention, while another climbed onto the roof. If true, such behavior implied a mental capacity that was beyond nearly all forms of life on Earth. Classically, the ability to invent and execute plans was believed to be limited to only 3 species: chimpanzees, gorillas, and human beings. Now, there was the possibility that a dinosaur might be able to do such a thing too. The raptor appeared again, darting into the light, then jumping away with a squeak. It really did seem to be leading them on. Gennaro frowned. "How smart are they?" he said. "If you think of them as birds," Grant said, "then you have to wonder. Some new studies show the gray parrot has as much symbolic intelligence as a chimpanzee." And there we go. And chimpanzees can definitely use language. Now researchers are finding that parrots
Drink water, you
have the
dehydrated
emotional
bitch!
development of a 3-year-old child, but their intelligence is unquestioned. Parrots can definitely reason symbolically. Thank you for the hydrate, Kashua. Why isn't my K-bunk, it disconnected. Let me refresh. There we go. And let me give you your that. Yep. And now let me hydrate. Gotta take care of your throat? Yeah. My throat has been through a lot. Of reading. A lot of reading. And singing. My jaw. Hold on. You've been practicing? Yeah. Well, I did a cover. I'm still mixing it. I'm gonna work more on it on tomorrow. And I'm going to be doing I'm gonna work ahead of time to do a couple of covers for Halloween. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm also doing a song, well, 2 songs from K-pop Demon Hunters. Parrots can definitely reason symbolically. But I've never heard of anybody killed by a parrot, Gennaro grumbled. Distantly, they could hear the sound of the surf on the island shore. The volcanic fields were behind them now, and they faced a field of boulders. The little raptor climbed up onto one rock and then abruptly disappeared. "Where'd it go?" Ellie said. Grant was listening to the earphones. The beeping stopped. "He's gone." They hurried forward and found in the midst of the rocks a small hole, like a rabbit hole. It was perhaps 2 feet in diameter. As they watched, the juvenile raptor reappeared, blinking in the light. Then it scampered away. "No way," Gennaro said. "No way I'm going down there." Grant said nothing. He and Ellie began to plug in equipment. Soon, he had a small video camera attached to a handheld monitor. He tied the camera to a rope, turned it on, and lowered it down the hole. "You can't see anything that way," Gennaro said. "Let it adjust," Grant said. There was enough light along the upper tunnel for them to see the smooth dirt walls. Then the tunnel opened out suddenly, abruptly. Over the microphone, they heard a squeaking sound, then a lower trumpeting sound. More noises coming from many animals. "Sounds like a nest, all right," Ellie said. "But you can't see anything," Gennaro said. He wiped the sweat off his forehead. "No," Grant said, "but I can hear." He listened for a while, and then hauled the camera out and set it on the ground. "Let's get started." He climbed up toward the hole. Ellie went to get a flashlight and a shock stick. Grant pulled the gas mask on over his face and crouched down awkwardly, extending his legs backwards. "You can't be serious about going down there," Gennaro said. Grant nodded. "It doesn't thrill me. I'll go first, then Ellie, then you come after." "Now wait a minute," Gennaro said in sudden alarm. "Why don't we drop these nerve gas grenades down the hole, then go down afterward? Doesn't that make more sense?" "Ellie, you got the flashlight?" She handed the flashlight to Grant. "What about it?" Gennaro said. "What do you say?" "I'd like nothing better," Grant said. He backed down toward the hole. "You ever seen anything die from poison gas?" "No. It generally causes convulsions. Bad convulsions." "Well, I'm sorry if it's unpleasant, but..." "Look," Grant said. "We're going into this nest to find out how many animals have hatched. If you kill the animals first, and some of them fall on the nests in their spasms, that will ruin our ability to see what was there. So we can't do that. But you made these animals, Mr. Gennaro." "I didn't." "Your money did. Your efforts did. You helped create them. They are your creation. And you can't just kill them because you feel a little nervous now." "I'm not a little nervous," Gennaro said. "I'm scared He was going to say shitless. "Follow me," Grant said. Ellie handed him a shock stick. He pushed backward through the hole and grunted. Tight fit. Grant exhaled and extended his arms forward in front of him. And there was a kind of whoosh, and he was gone. The hole gaped, empty and black. "What happened to him?" Gennaro said, alarmed. Ellie stepped forward and leaned close to the hole, listening at the opening. She clicked the radio and said softly, "Alan." There was a long silence. Then they heard faintly, "I'm here." "Is everything all right, Alan?" Another long silence. When Grant finally spoke, His voice sounded distinctly odd, almost awestruck. "Everything's fine," he said. In the lodge, John Hammond had paced back and forth in Malcolm's room. Yeah. Hammond was impatient and uncomfortable. Since marshalling the effort for his last outburst, Malcolm had slipped into a coma, and now it appeared to Hammond that he might actually die. Of course, a helicopter had been sent for, but God knows when it would arrive. The thought that Malcolm might die in the meantime filled Hammond with anxiety and dread. And paradoxically, Hammond found it all much worse because he disliked the mathematician so much. It was worse than if the man were his friend. Hammond felt that Malcolm's death, should it occur, would be the final rebuke, and that was more than Hammond could bear. In any case, the smell in the room was quite ghastly. Quite ghastly. The rotten decay of human flesh. "Everything paired," Malcolm said, tossing on the pillow. "Is he waking up?" Hammond said. Harding shook his head. "What did he say? Something about paradise?" "I didn't catch it," Harding said. Hammond paced some more. He pushed the window wider, trying to get some fresh air. Finally, when he couldn't stand it, he said, "Is there any problem about going outside?" "I don't think so, no," Harding said. "I think this area is all right." "Well, look, I'm going outside for a bit." "All right," Harding said. He adjusted the flow on the intravenous antibiotics. "I'll be back soon." "All right." Hammond left, stepping out into the daylight, wondering why he had bothered to justify himself to Harding. After all, the man was his employee. Hammond had no need to explain himself. He went through the gates of the fence, looking around the park. It was late afternoon, the time when the blowing mist was thinned, and the sun sometimes came out. The sun was out now, and Hammond took it as an omen. Say what they would, he knew that this park had promise, and even if that impetulant fool Shannara decided to burn it to the ground, it would not make much difference. Hammond knew that in 2 separate vaults at InGen headquarters in Palo Alto were dozens of frozen embryos. It would not be a problem to grow them again on another island, elsewhere in the world. And if there had been problems here, then the next time they would solve those problems. Banana. That was how progress occurred, by solving problems. Your local penguin, thank you so much for the follow. Or, no, human piccolo, thank you for the follow. Local penguin, thank you for the lurk. Here we go. You make dinosaur noises? I don't know. See, if we were on the pterodactyl part, I could probably make some pterodactyl noises, right? Because I think pterodactyl noises are kind of like... Pterodactyl noises are kind of like screamo noises, you know? Like the that. But can you make the sound of the gate? It's my favorite dinosaur. No, I can't make rusted gate noises. I'm sorry. I can't make rusted gate noises. As I'm about to go play You're gonna go play Battlefield? Have a fun. Have fun. Good night. Thank you for dropping in and hanging out with me today. Maybe the Jeep. Beep beep. You made the beep beep. What sound did the beep made in the movie? It's like beep. I have a question. What is it like being an apple tree? What kind of apples?
Banana.
What kind of apples? Thank you for the follow. 10 out of 10 beep. Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm so happy. We're 5 followers away from hitting our goal. Very appley. Good answer. Good answer. Very appley. Where was I? Where was I? As he thought about it, he concluded that Wu had not really been the man for the job. Wu had obviously been sloppy, too casual with his great undertaking, and Wu had been too preoccupied with the idea of making improvements. Instead of making dinosaurs, he had wanted to improve on them. Hammond suspected darkly. That was the reason for the downfall of the park. Wu was the reason. Also, he had to admit that John Arnold was ill-suited for the job of chief engineer. Arnold had impressive credentials, but at this point in his career he was tired, and he was a fretful worrier. He hadn't been organized, and he had missed things. Important things. Abel, thank you for the head pads. Thank you. It's like when you lick the Snosberry wallpaper in the chocolate factory. That kind. Oh, so Snosberry apples. The Snosberries taste like Snosberries. Just remember to read the fine print. In truth, neither Wu nor Arnold had had the most important characteristics, Hammond decided. The characteristic of vision. The great sweeping act of imagination, which evoked a marvelous park, where children pressed against the fences, wondering at the extraordinary creatures come alive from their storybooks. Real vision. The ability to see the future. The ability to marshal resources to make the future vision a reality. No, neither Wu nor Arnold was suited to that task. And, for that matter, Ed Regis had been a poor choice too. Harding was, at best, an indifferent choice. Muldoon was a drunk. See, blaming everybody but himself. Where's the accountability? Where's the accountability? Hammond shook his head. He would do better next time. Lost in his thoughts, he headed toward his bungalow, following the little path that ran north from the visitor center. He passed one of the workmen, who nodded curtly. Hammond did not return the nod. He found the Teakman workman to be uniformly insolent. To tell the truth, the choice of this island off Costa Rica had also been unwise. He would not make such obvious mistakes again. When it came, the roar of the dinosaur seemed frighteningly close. Hammond spun so quickly he fell on the path. And when he looked back, he thought he saw the shadow of the juvenile T-Rex moving in the foliage beside the flagstone path, moving toward him. What was the T-Rex doing here? Why was it outside the fences? Hammond felt a flash of rage, and then he saw the Tekin workman running for his life. And Hammond took a moment to get to his feet and dash blindly into the forest on the opposite side of the path. He was plunged into darkness. He stumbled and fell, his face mashed into wet leaves and damp earth, and he staggered back up to his feet, ran onward, fell again, then ran once more. Now he was moving down a steep hillside, and he couldn't keep his balance. He tumbled helplessly, rolling and spinning over the soft ground, before finally coming to a stop at the foot of the hill. His face splashed into shallow, tepid water, which gurgled around him and ran up his nose. He was lying face down in a little stream. He had panicked. What a fool. He should have gone to his bungalow. Hammond cursed himself. As he got to his feet, he felt a sharp pain in his right ankle that brought tears to his eyes. He tested it gingerly. It might be broken. He forced himself to put his full weight on it, gritting his teeth. Yes, almost certainly broken. Accountability versus men. Accountability versus man with millions of dollars. Millions. In the control room, Lex said to Tim, "I wish they had taken us with them to the nest." "It's too dangerous for us, Lex," Tim said. "We have to stay here." "Hey, listen to this one." He pressed another button, and a recorded tyrannosaur roar echoed over the loudspeakers in the park. "That's neat," Lex said. "That's better than the other one." "You can do it too," Tim said. "And if you push this, you get reverb." "Let me try," Lex said. She pushed the button. The tyrannosaur roared again. "Can we make it last longer?" she said. "Sure," Tim said. "We just twist this thing here." Kids, they're just having all kinds of fun in that control room. Had to crack my back. Bratty backshots. Hi, welcome back. I bet they had all kinds of fun in that control room. Well, they're playing with computers, and they're kids, so I wouldn't see why not when they're playing dinosaur noises over the loudspeakers. I take it back. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I hope one of them stubbed their toe. How much more we got left? We're on page 439. Halfway through 439. And there are 458 pages. So we have 7. Yeah. Almost there. Almost. Quick maths. See, I'm glad you guys are here to do math for me because I don't do math. Math is okay. Lying at the bottom of the hill, Hammond heard the tyrannosaur roar, bellowing through the jungle. Jesus. He shivered, hearing that sound. It was terrifying. A scream from some other world. He waited to see what would happen. What would the tyrannosaur do? Had it already gotten that workman? Hammond waited, hearing only the buzz of the jungle cicadas, until he realized he was holding his breath and let out a long sigh. You can call me Mathosaurus. Because math makes me sore. It makes you sore. It makes you sore. With his injured ankle, he couldn't climb the hill. He would have to wait at the bottom of the ravine. After the tyrannosaur had gone, he would call for help. Meanwhile, he was in no danger here. Then he heard an amplified voice say, "Come on, Timmy. I get to try it too. Come on, let me make the noise." The kids. The tyrannosaur roared again, but this time it had distinct musical overtones and a kind of echo persisting afterward. "Neat one," said the little girl. "Do it again." Those damned kids. He should never have brought those kids. They had been nothing but trouble from the beginning. Nobody wanted them around. Hammond had only brought them because he thought it would stop Gennaro from destroying the resort, but Gennaro was going to do it anyway, and the kids had obviously gotten into the control room and started fooling around. Now, who had allowed that? See, even blaming his own grandchildren. Amazing. No, I got that you meant that kind of sore. Boomy! Welcome back. He felt his heart begin to race, and felt an uneasy shortness of breath. He forced himself to relax. There was nothing wrong. Although he could not climb the hill, he could not be more than 100 yards from his own bungalow and the visitor center. Hammond sat down in the damp earth, listening to the sounds in the jungle around him. And then, after a while, he began to shout for help. Malcolm's voice was no louder than a whisper. "Everything looks different on the other side," he said. Harding leaned close to him. On the other side. He thought that Malcolm was talking about dying. "When shifts," Malcolm said. "Shifts?" Malcolm didn't answer. His dry lips moved. "Paradigm," he said finally. "Paradigm shifts," Harding said. He knew about paradigm shifts. For the last 2 decades, they had been a fashionable way to talk about scientific change. Paradigm was just another word for a model, but as a scientist used the term, meant something more. A worldview, a larger way of seeing the world. Paradigm shifts were said to occur whenever science made a major change in its view of the world. Such changes were relatively rare, occurring about once in a century. Darwinian evolution had forced a paradigm shift. Quantum mechanics had forced a smaller shift. No, Malcolm said. Not a paradigm. Beyond. Beyond paradigm, Harding said. Don't care about what anymore. Harding sighed. Despite all efforts, Malcolm was rapidly slipping into a terminal delirium. His fever was higher, and they were almost out of the antibiotics. What don't you care about? Anything, Malcolm said. Because everything looks different on the other side. And he smiled. Man, if I wanted to go for another few hours, we could finish the book. However, my cat is starting to stare at me, and I can hear her meowing through my headphones. So I think she might be ready to go to bed. So I'm gonna take off my reading glasses and put my book away. So, on the next Jurassic Park reading stream, there will be the bombing of or the grenading of the velociraptor nest. Potentially some more death. We'll find out, because I've never read this before. Some of you have. Yes, find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Oh my god, my nephew is streaming right now. Roblox. Ha. I have not, but I'm enjoying it. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Oh, so, I'm imagining that we'll finish the book in 1 hour next time. So I will try to have some more planned. We might watch some Jurassic Park related animations, maybe some analog horror based on dinosaurs on Saturday. I think that's what I have Saturday planned for. It's in my schedule is in my Discord, so that's where you'll be able to find that. Back with audio now, yay! Oh, yay! Oh, you have audio. Woo. Thank you again for the follow and stuff. Oh, what the hell? My shit is being weird again. But yeah. I'm going to be ending stream and raiding out soon. So, thank you guys for all the follows today and hanging out with me. I hope you guys have been enjoying reading Jurassic Park with me. I will be join the Discord if you haven't, so you can see my schedule. I will be reading the rest of the book on uh, either Friday or Saturday. I don't remember which one, but one of those days is Stardew Valley, and the other one is Jurassic Park. Okay, but I will be back at 6 p.m. Eastern on Friday for one of those two things. Um, Stick around for my raid. Be good people. Don't embarrass me. 'Cause if you do, I'll hunt you down. I'll hunt you down. And I'm going to have to teach you how to behave yourself properly when I drop you off with your babysitter. Thanks for your stream. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. All right. Let me go ahead and get the raid set up. Let me go ahead and get the raid set up. Huh? What do you mean, huh? Alright. So I'm gonna send you off to one of my friends. Let's see, do I send you off to someone playing Peek? Yeah, I'm gonna send you off to my friend, to my woot, Davi. When do we need to behave? When I drop you off to your babysitter, you behave. Alright, I'm gonna send you guys over to Davi. She's playing Peek. She's climbing Freak Peak. So behave yourselves. And I will see you guys on Friday. Bye bye, y'all.